All right, Cathy and Dan, thank you for inviting me into your lovely home today and for agreeing to answer these wonderful questions that I'm going to be asking you in a little bit. I think these interviews are really important so that it helps our members get to know other members a little bit more, and especially members that have been in the club a little while longer. So, Cathy, I'm going to ask you some questions, and Dan, I'm going to bring you into a couple of questions too, okay? First question I want to ask you, Cathy, is can you share with us your background a little bit and how you came to Fair Oaks?
Hi. Actually, I was manager of the Merrick River Bank in Fair Oaks Village, and a lot of Rotarians actually were my customers. So I think because they knew me very, very well as a banker, they felt comfortable asking me to join the Rotary. And I had a couple of guys bug me several times. My sponsor was Bob Scott, who is no longer in the club, but he was also my doctor and customer, and my sponsor. John Chavez also was a big part of convincing me to join the club. I remember him taking me out to dinner, a couple glasses of wine to make me relax and talk me into joining the club. So that was actually two members that were influencing me to become a member.
Okay, I remember Bob Scott because he was also my daughter's doctor's doctor. Well, nurse practitioner, basically.
Exactly.
Nurse practitioner, yeah.
Right.
He was really a fun guy. Really liked him a lot.
Yeah.
So, two men invited you to join Rotary. What were you thinking Rotary was, or what was your impression of what Rotary was before you actually joined?
Well, I pretty much knew what Rotary was because I was involved in attending a lot of their functions. I would, for instance, on Monte Carlo night, I would be a dealer for them. They used to do steak sandwiches in the park, and I would help with that. And I just attended a lot of their functions. So it was kind of a community service part of my job to be involved. So I already knew them. And I knew what they did, and the causes were good. So
okay, so your impression was though that it was mostly men. You knew.
I knew it was mostly men.
Yeah, and
yes.
You knew then that women, obviously, two men invited you to join, and you were the first woman who joined the Fair Oaks Rotary Club. Mm-hmm. So tell me about that. How were you received or embraced, or did they embrace you?
Well, rumor has it that there were a lot of. Not a lot, I would say a handful of Rotarians that absolutely did not want women in the club. And they threatened to leave the club. And I also heard that some wives were not happy about a woman being in the club because they looked forward to their husband going out every Monday night to the boys' club. And so that was a little challenging for me once I heard those rumors were going around. But once I became a member, it seems like they were testing me to see if I would be a good Rotarian, if I was going to be a threat to anybody or whatever. So the first year they actually put me on the board or asked me to join the board, which I thought, oh my gosh, this is a test for sure. And so I was on the board. I think club service was my position. And then later on, I also was club secretary for like 4 or 5 years. So I think I was able to prove myself because I was a very hard worker and I participated in everything. So yeah, I think I won them over, I believe.
Well, you definitely won them over because they let more women join the club.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. In fact, presently we have 40% women in our club. That's 35 women. I counted them this morning. Did you ever imagine when you joined, especially the struggles that you had getting them to accept you, that we'd have that many women in Rotary?
I never really put a number to it, but I saw the writing on the wall that women should be included in the club. And to be perfectly honest with you, I think that women maybe work harder than men. For instance, I could not see one of the gentlemen in our club putting together a raffle or silent auction because it does take kind of a woman's touch to do that. So I think that women have been a great addition to our club in that respect. The hardworking physical stuff that needs to be organized and things like that.
Well, that was one of the questions I was going to ask you is what do you think women bring to the club?
Exactly that.
Yeah.
They're hands-on. I think women's are hands-on for sure.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Where we lack in muscle, we definitely have in
Right.
adding the finesse and the special touches.
Yeah, for sure.
I remember when I joined, it just bothered me that we didn't have tablecloths on
Yes,
the tables.
I know. And they have to be color coordinated.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Okay, okay. I know everybody's dying to hear the story of how you two met.
Mm-hmm.
So who wants to tell the story?
Good.
Dan?
So, 1992,
Yep.
Cathy was and the Rotary were joined with the Chamber of Commerce to do a fundraiser function, Oktoberfest.
I forgot to mention that I was in the Chamber of Commerce on their board
Okay.
at the time
Yeah.
also.
So she was on their board. I was on the Rotary Club's board, community service. So I was tasked with handling an Oktoberfest. And that's how we met. Talking to each other at the meetings before the Oktoberfest, and one thing led to another. What was our first date? At Sacramento Surge game?
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe, yeah.
Yeah, so we had Rotary and Chamber of Commerce were going to the Sacramento Surge game. Out in the parking
Also,
lot.
at Jim Racy's demotion party at the
Yeah.
Palomino room,
At
right?
the Palomino.
That was kind of the sneaky first thing, first
First
connection.
date.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So we dated for a while.
A while.
Moved in together like about a year or 2 years later. She moved from Citrus Heights over to Antelope where I had a house. So we lived there for a while. And then we got married in 2002 on the Bluffs.
Just took 9 years.
Okay.
We took,
We want to make sure.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you're both members of the same club. What would happen if it didn't work out? One of you'd probably want to leave the club, right?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's true. That would be an uncomfortable situation.
yeah, she joined the club
1992, same year.
1992
we
or
met.
93.
92.
92 the year we met. So I joined in August 1992, and I think you joined after that, a couple of months
Couple
after
months
that.
after that, yeah.
And the rest is history.
And the rest is history. Okay. All right. So, Dan, you've been very involved in Rotary as well. You are also involved in the foundation board. So, can you tell me exactly how you got involved in the foundation board? Presently, you're the advisor. And what is the advisor to the board?
So I originally joined the foundation board because I was treasurer of the club, and at that time the treasurer of the club was also treasurer of the foundation. You had dual duties. I enjoyed going to the foundation. They had a lot of good members at the time. We had a good foundation. We were just kind of getting it off the ground when I first joined.
Jim Purcell.
Yeah, Jim Purcell was
Big
it.
part of it.
Who
Bob
was
Walters.
Who was the attorney?
Bob
John.
Walters.
John was a client of yours.
Oh, yeah. John.
John, who lived in Fair Oaks, and he moved down to L.A. eventually. But he drew up all of our legal docs. And I really liked him a lot.
Swanson. John Swanson.
John Swanson.
I knew it'd come to me.
His office was across the street from the clubhouse. Remember that, so he'd walk over for the meeting. As to being an advisor, so since I was the longest tenured person in the foundation, they decided, and I was president for 4 years of the foundation before Bruce was elected president. Bruce decided it would be good to have someone that knows the ins and outs over the years to be an advisor, counselor. So I've done that for the last almost 2 years to help Bruce out, smooth the transition. So I'd still like to probably participate, be on the foundation board again. I think it's a great organization. We do a lot of good work, and it seems like we're working a lot better together with the club now, which is nice. Once we got the MOU straightened out
Yes.
and everything. So as far as the fundraisers,
Good.
Yeah.
I know. I think it's an important relationship between the foundation board and our club, because I mean basically we can do so many more fundraisers with a 501c3 and the handling of the finances and everything. So
and if I could just add a little bit, we didn't have great communication in the past, and Pete Schroeder took it upon himself as president to break down the walls and to get the docs in order and make sure everybody knew what the foundation was about. And I think that was part of the problem. They thought the foundation was some big secret organization, that held all the club's monies and didn't spend it properly, blah, blah, blah. But we broke down the walls during his presidential tenure, and I think it's full speed forward now. We've done real well together as joining foundation and the club, especially the fundraisers. So.
good. Well, thank you, Dan. All right. Well, this question is actually for both of you. I recently went through our roster and counted. We have between 11 and 12. I want to make sure I have counted everybody. Married couples in our club, and one dating couple. Then there seems to be a good history of dating couples in our club. Anyway, what do you think is the benefit of the spouse becoming a member and getting involved in Rotary?
Well, I think once that you have one Rotarian, the spouse, who's the non-Rotarian, always ends up participating regardless. They're going to support that Rotarian, and they're going to come to the functions and things like that. So I think it's beneficial to have both of them. You've got the input of a female point of view, and then you've got the male point of view, and the brawn. Usually it's the guy that we need to please move that table over here, that kind of thing. So I think it's a good blend to have both of them, because they both support the cause anyway. So it makes sense.
I agree. I know. When my husband asked me to join, and I was hesitant, and I joined as an associate member to begin with, which some of the wives or spouses have done. I think we have 2 or 3 that are still associate members. We even have some spouses that are members of Interwheel, so that's kind of a, I didn't even count them, and that would make it even more.
Right.
And since it is an evening meeting, I mean, it's a date night.
Sure.
And we
You don't have to cook.
We don't have to cook. So, the social aspect of our club makes it much easier as well.
Yeah, if I could add to that real quick, especially about Interwheel. That was usually the outlet for the spouse to join Interwheel and kind of be involved in that, and then eventually probably join the club. I think we opened up the doors and joined the club.
Well, back in the
And
day,
it's helped that we got 40% women, because you look at who've been our membership chairs for like the last 5 or 6 years, right?
That's
Yeah.
that's right.
But they've done a great job. I mean, Alice and now, who else was membership chair?
Yeah.
Wasn't Dennis a membership chair?
No, I was.
Right.
You were.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
And now
Robin. Yes.
Robin's doing a great job.
Yeah, I think that's a great position.
How many members do we have now?
We presently have 86 members.
Wow. We had probably 35 to 40 when I joined.
Okay, I was gonna add that.
Yeah,
How
I'm
much did you
thinking
start?
maybe 35.
And I remember when I joined, there was like 60 or 66 or something like that. And it was in that small room downstairs, which was like a fishbowl. When you are that crowded, it's really hard to invite people to come to a meeting because there's no place to sit.
Right.
That changed drastically when we moved upstairs. And of course, that was another hard transition. I've already talked to a couple of senior members who said that was harder than admitting women to the club, is actually having moving
The change.
upstairs.
Yeah.
That change, but it did allow us the opportunity to expand and increase our membership. Well, those are the questions that I have for you. Anything else that you two would like to add or share about yourselves?
No?
No, I know you have how many grandchildren together now? How many?
6.
6 grandchildren. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know you're very active with the grandchildren as well.
Try to
Well, I want to thank you both for allowing me the opportunity to come and interview you today. This
Sure.
was fun. We had a nice
My pleasure.
sunny day outside, even though we're inside, and I appreciate it very much. So
Sure.
thank you.
Yeah, I
welcome.
appreciate it.
Thanks, sir.
You guys thinking of us. And
Yeah.
being allowed to kind of share our story a little bit. I think a lot of the club members know it.
The older ones.
The older ones, yeah. And most
Most of them actually attended our
our
wedding.
wedding.
Oh, isn't that neat?
It was a big old Fair Oaks party
Yeah, we had what,
on the bluffs of the American River. It was nice.
250, probably.
Yeah.
About 250 people.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, we borrowed someone's yard and house.
Don't tell the
What?
story. They don't need to know all that. But it was a
Well.
great party.
But it was a great party, it was beautiful weather, and we had a lot of fun. Celebrating it with not just Rotary, but the theater festival people
Oh, yeah.
and our
that's
friends and everything.
Right.
That's right, because you're not just involved in Rotary, you're also with the theater festival. What other organizations do you belong to, Kathy?
That's
Dan?
pretty much it.
Okay.
I was with
Oh.
the chamber early
Right.
on, but I've been with the theater probably 25 years also.
Yeah, and I think that's
Yeah.
one of the reasons was attracted to each other was we were both wanted to be very involved in community service. I was a Boy Scout and Eagle Scout, did a lot of community service growing up, and then my grandfather was a member of the Old Town Tucson Rotary Club for years, years and years, and he kind of pushed me to join. My younger brother joined Rotary at one time up in Reno, but he since has left. He's too busy doing other stuff right now. So my great uncle was a Rotarian for a number of years too up in Oregon. So it kind of permeates in our family, which is nice.
I agree. And giving service does bring people together, whether it's romantically or just good friends. So thank you again for allowing me the opportunity